With just a few weeks before 2020 comes to an end, let's look back at some of the big stories that either made us frown, smile, or perhaps laugh in the world of technology. Hey, what up? It's your boy MobbJustice back again with another video, and for today we are just going to be taking a look back at some of the big stories that we covered through 2021, because there are just a couple of weeks before we do come to the end of the year. So I thought that it would be a good time for us to just reflect, look back, and maybe what's happened through 2021 might give us a little bit of a glimpse into what's going to happen in 2022. As always, this video is brought to you by the team over at Liyon Media. Head on over to check out some of the crispiest photo, video, and audio content. That's www.lionmedia.com. Head on over, check it out, and just see what the team can do for you. Now, there were a lot of things that we covered here on the channel through the year, but I think when it comes to stories, nothing was bigger, at least at the start of this year, than the WhatsApp story. This is where we saw Facebook, which owns WhatsApp, coming in with some changes to its privacy policy, and that caused a lot of mayhem and drama online. A lot of people saying that they just couldn't take it anymore, questioning the privacy safeguards that Facebook had when it came to the WhatsApp platform. And more than anything else, this caused a big uproar that led to a lot of people saying that they would leave WhatsApp and actually go out and download, install, and end up running off to Signal as well as Telegram. We saw a lot of upticks in terms of the downloads of those two apps, and we saw a lot of action on that end. But one of the things I did highlight at the start of the year was that 2 billion people that use WhatsApp was simply too big of a number, and more than anything else, the convenience that the platform brings was likely going to overshadow whatever hype, whatever skepticism, or whatever concern people had when it came to the new privacy policy. And about a year or so later, as we come to the end of the year, we really do see that really came to pass. I mean, you in your life at the moment, if you're one of those people that did download Signal or Telegram and swore that you'd never use WhatsApp ever again, when was the last time you used Signal or Telegram? It was a really interesting story, but I think it really did highlight a couple of things. More than anything else, just how much market power the likes of Facebook have with its different properties, but also at the same time, just how much the convenience of some of these platforms, can actually grip people, especially over some of the concerns that they might or might not have. That convenience really does come at a cost, but at the same time, just accepting the fact that the convenience does come with a little bit, it's a bit of a give and take. So if you want the convenience, you also have to be willing to play ball with what these platforms do and have to say. As with any year, there was a lot of news that came out from Apple. I think Apple is one of those companies that we cover a lot on this platform. And, whether we're talking about the iPhone 13, lineup that came out in September, or whether we're talking about Facebook versus Apple, there was a lot, to talk about. And I would say that, those two particular aspects were two of the big things that actually came out this year. Everyone had been anticipating the new iPhone 13s because the iPhones are usually one of the big things that people anticipate each year. But it was really quite interesting seeing Apple digging in its heels when it came to privacy. They've long stood for being that company that stands for privacy, but this year we saw them taking it to a new level, when it came to issues around app tracking, as well as their stance against the likes of Facebook, whose entire business model has to do, you know, with user data, advertising, information sharing, that type of thing. But outside of those things, I would say that there were a couple of things that stood out for me on the Apple side. Firstly, I would say that this was the year of the Mac, because basically we saw the M1 Max that had come out back in 2020. We saw that lineup extending to the MacBook Pros that came out in the last couple of months, and those ones really stood out because this is what people had been waiting for. This journey that Apple took with making its own chips, its departure from Intel, really came to the fore when the new 14 and 16-inch MacBooks came out. And that was also coupled with the fact that Apple saw itself walking back on a couple of key stances that it had taken in previous years. Most recently, it was the right to repair. We saw them actually making changes that now allow for people to start, you know, ordering parts and start fixing their own iPhones and, you know, other such devices. But one of the big ones was with the Mac, where we saw them bringing back the HDMI port, the SD card reader, as well as MagSafe. So as someone who's seeing that Apple is starting to listen again, I'm really going to, you know, come back again and just be like, Apple, please bring back the headphone jack. I think a proper compromise would be perhaps, you know, on the SE range of devices. Perhaps, you know, one of those could have a variant, right? Not to say you have it across the board. It would be nice if we saw something like that, but perhaps on an SE variant, having the headphone jack coming back on one of those devices might really be good for those people that still rely on that port. Outside of that, two of the big Apple devices that stood out for me this year that I was really anticipating. The first one, earlier in the year, we saw a revision of the Apple TV 4K. I was very interested in that device, particularly, you know, seeing that they redid the remote control, which was something that a lot of people had been asking for. And then at the same time, when we saw the iPhone 13 come out, we also saw a new set of AirPods coming out, that is AirPods 3, you know, sort of mixing in the best of the AirPods second generation as well as the AirPods Pro. Moving on from Apple, I would actually say that of all the devices that came out this year that we covered, I would say my favorite to have come out in 2021 were the two Samsung foldable devices. That would have been the latest generation of the Z Fold, which was now the Z Fold 3, and then we also saw the Z Flip also, you know, being refreshed as well, and we saw the new Z Flip coming out. And I really think that, you know, those two foldable devices stood out for me as two of my favorite devices to come out in 2021. Through the year, we found ourselves reviewing a number of different devices. I mean, we had our first camera review that we did on the platform. We also continued with the series around the laptop devices. We had a Chromebook earlier in the year. We also had an Acer device, the Concept D, that we recently reviewed. Really great devices. But I would say that my most favorite device to be reviewed in the year was the Jbl headphones. Really had fun, you know, putting all of that together, the noise cancelling, build quality, all of that stuff, because as someone who really enjoys audio, you know, it was a really great review to get behind. Really looking forward to reviewing even more devices in 2022. Coming to the last part of this video, I want to highlight two of my favorite videos to make through the year, because like we said, the main types of videos that we make on the channel is ones around business strategies, around product announcement, and then we have the app and device reviews that we do together with the tutorials. And I would say that out of everything that we did, two of the videos that stand out. First, we did something around Clubhouse at at the start of the year. It really seemed like, Clubhouse was here to stay. They had found this interesting niche, and it was a really great time. I found myself spending hours upon hours on Clubhouse, earlier this year. And, shout out to Daniel Durand, who, joined me, in terms of making that video at the start of the year. And it's actually been quite fascinating to see how things have progressed in the space ever since then, because we now find ourselves in a situation where Twitter came out with its own, sort of live audio feature that is called Twitter Spaces. And now, almost everywhere you turn on Twitter, there is a space for this, there is a space for that. So that culture that Clubhouse brought in, has found ourselves in this interesting situation. And it sort of feels as if Twitter Spaces has really taken over this space, with, very few people, sort of going back to where Clubhouse was back in the day. From a feature point of view, I still stand behind what Clubhouse is, but unfortunately the numbers at the moment are on Twitter. The other video was just something of an update, because a couple of years ago we did a video around why Snapchat sucks on Android, and this year we did something on why Instagram sucks on Android, and that really proved to be quite a popular video on the channel, ending up being the most watched video of the year, and also the most watched video when it comes to this entire tech series that we've done. So shout out to everyone who's been watching, and hopefully we'll be able to make content like that in future. So it was a great year for technology in 2021. You can let us know what were some of your, top stories, top devices, top reviews, that you saw in and around the world of technology. But more specifically, if you've been following us, right, what were some of your standout videos or standout, series that we did throughout the year. We're looking forward to having more great content in the year to come, but it's always great just looking back at the year that was. You can let us know your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Hey, this is Baby G, and you're watching the Mob Justice channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Live it, love it, like it. This is the Mob Justice TV.